Hello and welcome to another chord string class workshop. So we are now working in D major, and as I said before, we're learning chords 1, 4 and 5, because actually if you've got chords 1, 4 and 5 under your belt, you can play an awful lot of music in the Western pop and classical canon, and quite a lot of folk music as well. So let's start with the drill as usual. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 3 and 4 are close. 7 and 8 are close. Let's put the alphabet in. We're in D major, so we're going to whiz through the alphabet. D, E, F, G, A, B, C, D. No accidentals at this point. Work out what the key signature is and what notes we actually need to play, put it down onto the keyboard and check the pattern. Okay, so we're going to use, I'm going to have to move up this way, but D is 1, 2, and then there needs to be a gap for 3. So we can't use F, we've got to use F sharp. And let's add that in here. 4, G is close, so we've got semitone. 5, 6, 7. There needs to be a gap between 6 and 7, so we can't use a C. So 7 is going to have to be a C sharp. So we add the C sharp there. And then 8 is a D. And 7 and 8 are close. So that's our scale pattern. We know that D major has a key signature of 2 sharps. We have an F sharp and we have a C sharp. So let's just do our scale warm up as we have done the other few. So we're going to do semi-breve, so 4 beat notes to warm up with. I'd like you to play them with me first off, really thinking about your bow hold and your tone. You choose now, so you can pause the video and have an experiment with what D major scale you want to do. It can be open string, starting on open string. It can be trying to play it higher. If you've learnt 3rd position, you can try and experiment with starting with your first finger on the A string and going up there. So pause the video, have a little play, work out the 1 octave D major scale that you're going to play, and then come back. Okay, so welcome back if you've had a little experiment with your D major scale. If you're going for the open string version with me, that's absolutely fine. And we're going to do semi-breve, long 4 beat notes just to get into the key. 1, 2, off we go. So now we're going to move into doing 2 minims per note. So 2, 2, 2. And I'd like you to start when I get to the 3rd note of my scale. So when I get to the F sharp, I'm going to say now, so that we're going to be playing in thirds with each other. Okay, so ready, steady, off I go. Get ready, go. Now. last one we're going to do, let's just practice it together just on an open string D to get the rhythm and the bowing. So it's going to be T, 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 2. Okay, so we do 4 quavers at the heel and a minim all the way through, 4 quavers and a minim, or T, 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 2, T, 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 2. Okay, let's just do it on an open string to get ready. Off we go. Really go to the tip and the heel. And really feel your fingers working. Okay, so remember, as my old teacher used to say, you've paid for your whole bow, use it. All right. Now we're going to do that rhythm. T, 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 2 on each of the notes, and when I get to my F sharp, my third note, I'm going to say now, and I'd like you to start so that you're in thirds with me. So I'll go first. Ready, steady, off I go. Get ready, go. So we should be feeling very D majory. We've got our palette of notes that we're going to be using. You've probably experimented with a few higher notes, lower notes, different positions, or you've just stayed in the same range that I was using. All of that is fine. All right, so we need to create our 3 chords. And remember, you can see pieces of music sometimes with these Roman numerals underneath, and what I'm giving you now is the tools to be able to work out which notes make up these chords so that you can make up your own accompaniments. So chord number 1 is a triad that is going to be based on our first note of the scale. All right, and remember, if you're a bit unsure, you can put it onto the stave. We want, if the first note is one of these notes, the other 2 notes of the chord will fill up a little snowman like that, or a bug. And if the first note's one of these notes, your chord is going to look like that. So number 1 is D. So our snowman for D is going to be made up of D, F sharp and A. So if we made a snowman from a D on the stave, the notes would look like that. So we're going to give that a red. That is our chord number 1, or our tonic chord. Then we need our chord number 5. So chord number 5, we're going to count up. Number 5, our starting note is A. Okay, if our starting note is A and we made up one of these little snowmen, taking this as A, or this is A, or snow person, then we would have A, C sharp and E. So A, C sharp and E. That would be the tonic triad if we're in A major, but we're not in A major. We are in D major, so that becomes our dominant chord. Okay, you don't have to know all of the dominant, subdominant, tonic at the moment, but it's just good to hear it a few times. So that's chord number 5. And we call that our dominant. I'm going to call it dom. Okay, and the other one we're interested in at the moment is chord number 4. Okay, and we call that our subdominant. And if we gave it the snowman treatment, the notes would be G, B, and D. So G, B, and D. And we're going to turn that into a green one. There we go, and that is chord number 4. So that is a very simple method to be able to work out the notes that you want. Once you know what scale you're in, you can then work out the chords based on this little method. Okay, so let's just explore these 3 chords individually, and then we're going to put them into our group improvisation. So we've got chord. We're going to use chord 1. We're going to use the same chord progression. That's the word we had before. The chords move from one to another, so it's progress of the chords moving. So that is a chord progression, okay? And we're going to have a chord of D, a chord of G, a chord of A, and back to a chord of D. But the whole time we're still in D major. We are using notes from a D major scale. We are just sort of focusing on different groups of them at different times to create a sense of drama and a journey, and in what we call the harmony. Right, so let's look at D major. We are going to do a D major chord, okay, a D major chord, and we're going to do 4 beats on D, then we're going to do 4 beats on F sharp, 4 beats on A, back to 4 beats on D, just to really get the feel for the chord. So ready, steady, off we go. Okay, then we're going to be a bit more adventurous, and we're going to use 2 notes for each 4-beat pattern. Okay, if you don't feel like being adventurous just yet, you can stick with what we've just done. Ready, steady, off we go. And finally, we're going to use all 3 notes or at any point we wish. So to make a more complicated pattern, D, F sharp and A, but you can go simpler if you wish. Ready, steady, off we go. So the next chord we're going to explore is a G chord. This is our subdominant chord in when we're in D major. It has a sort of mellow sound. I always feel like the dominant chord is quite bright. The tonic chord, number 1 chord, is sort of home, and the sort of subdominant chord I feel has a sort of open, mellow feeling. There we go, that's insight into my brain. Right, we're going to have 4 beats on G, 4 beats on B, 4 beats on D, and then back to 4 beats on G using this rhythm pattern. Okay, ready? Off, ready, steady, off we go. then next we're going to use 2 different notes for each version of this, but still using G, B or D. Ready, steady, off we go. Okay, and then last we can use G, B or D in any order, using this rhythm 4 times over. Ready, steady, off we go. And the last chord we're going to be looking at is our dominant, our strong leading dominant chord, which has A, C sharp and E. So first time through we use A for 4 beats, C sharp for 4 beats, E for 4 beats and A for 4 beats. So ready, steady, off we go. Now I use my 4th finger for my E there, just because the E can be a bit harsh on the recording. If you've learnt 4 fingers, then you can have a go. It's a good time to practice them. Otherwise, just use your open E. Right, now we're using 2 notes per 4 beat rhythm. So, ready, steady, off we go. And then lastly, we can use any notes A, C and E in any combination we want to using this rhythm. So ready, steady, off we go. Okay. So now we are going to have a go at a really simple version of this chord progression. So use 1 note for every 4 beats. We're going to do 4 lots of D major, 4 lots of G major, 4 lots of A major, then back to 4 lots of D major chords. Remember, we are still in D major, but we are using chords to take us on a little journey. Okay, are we ready? So 16 bars, 4 of each rhythm, 4 of each chord. I'll say change when we get to the chords. So ready, steady, off we go. Change to G. Change to A. Change back to D. Okay, so that was the simplest version of the progression. Well, not the very simplest. The very simplest is that you could just stick with a D, a G, an A and a D for 4 bars on a loop. because the notes I will play will create a harmony over the top. So if it's a choice of stopping or doing it really, really simple, keep it really, really simple and keep going. Okay, stopping is not an option. Right, let's have a go at doing the same again, but I'm going to use 2 notes in each of my little patterns. Okay, are we ready? Ready, steady, off we go. Change to D. Okay, and then one more version through where I'm going to use all of the notes of all of the chords in any combination. You can join me. We're going to try and keep the same rhythms at the moment, and then we'll do one more version with free rhythm. Okay, so stick with the same rhythms as me, but you can change all the notes. Just make sure you stick with notes from the chords. So we're going to start with a D chord for 4 bars. Ready, steady, off we go. And then the last final time, what we're going to do is you can take the rhythm into your own hands this time. So you should be feeling quite used to these combinations of notes. So now you can have a go at doing some rhythmic improvising. Rhythmic improvising doesn't mean you have to go faster. You can have much longer notes, you can add in some rests, but you can also use some of the dotted rhythms and the semiquavers and things that we have been using so far. So, 4 bars of D major, 4 bars of G major, 4 bars of an A major chord, and 4 bars of a D major chord. Okay, 4/4, so it's 4 beats for each one. I'm going to do the same as I did last time, to just try and keep us steady and give you a platform on which to go for it and really try out some exciting stuff. Okay, so remember we've got D, F sharp, A, G, B, D, A, C sharp, E, back to D, F sharp, A. See you at the end. Ready, steady, off we go. Change to A. And I suppose part of the skill of what you're doing is having enough brain space to know that this is a 16 bar piece that we're trying to create, and know that when we go back to D, we've got 4 bars within which to sort of bring this piece to an end and finish on something that sounds sort of musically satisfying. Sometimes that will happen amazingly and you'll be like, yeah, that was brilliant. And other times you'll be sort of so busy in what you're doing, it will suddenly come to an end and you're like, whoa, I wasn't expecting that. So the skills we are practicing is like carving up our brains so that some of it is dealing with the notes, some of it is dealing with the rhythm, some of it is responding and listening to what other people are doing, some of it is thinking ahead to what's coming next and how to sort of create the shapes and the melodies we want to shape, and all of the time we're keeping going. So we're keeping moving on our violin and our brain is ahead of us, thinking forwards, planning, really sort of, because sometimes when we practice we can get so in the moment of refining 1 bar, 2 bars, putting those bars together. It's the skill of putting our heads forwards and being able to have that feeling of slightly running down the hill, being slightly out of control, but feeling free and just going with it, and whatever happens, and we're able to just sort of go with the flow a little bit is also a very, very important musical skill, and one that is much harder to do when we're not playing in ensembles. So hopefully you can come up with some really funky tunes. Do go over this lots of times and just be more brave every time you do it. Right, have fun, and I'll see you soon.